achieved.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to Studio de Jeffrey. Oh, sorry, this is a little hot, isn't it? A little hot. As you guys know, it takes something pretty special to make me break out the bucket hat. But I think Everson Griffen signing with the Cowboys on the eve of the first practice, that qualifies. So let's talk Everson Griffen to the Cowboys and why is an absolutely perfect fit, why they got the deal that they did, and what you can expect from Everson Griffen. I'll start with this. Everson Griffen as a player. I watched him last night. I watched some of the old All-22 on NFL Game Pass because it's kind of stuff that I do on a Wednesday night. It's Thursday now, right? Whatever. And I tell you this, and I think this is the biggest thing, is that on a football field, Everson Griffen, even this will be, I think, his age 33 season, you replaced Robert Quinn. You upgraded Robert Quinn. You know, he got a bigger deal than Everson Griffen did, and we'll get into the whys of that in a minute. But as far as line up and play defensive end, play right defensive end, Everson Griffen is actually a better player than Robert Quinn today because they're both quality pass rushers still. But Everson Griffen, that's a tough dude. That as a run defender, I was watching him play the Raiders last night, and they know that it takes more than one guy. Like, he is a physically strong, tough dude, and he's a good pass rusher. So he actually brings more to your football team than Robert Quinn did. And so this is what the smartest organizations do. This one is a little bit of luck. And you have to hope that it works out well. It's a little bit of luck, though, where you could let a guy that you found on the cheap go. You're going to get a comp pick back for Robert Quinn, and then you can replace him and get similar, or in this case, even better production for another guy on the cheap. That's what the smart organizations do. And now you're going to line up. Your starters are going to be DeMarcus Lawrence at left end and Everson Griffen at right end, and both of them are stout run players and good pass rushers. Cowboys defensive line went from, oh no, they're going to lose Malik Collins and they're going to lose Robert Quinn, whatever will they do, to now it's the strength of the defense. The strength of your defense is now Dontari Poe, Gerald McCoy, DeMarcus Lawrence, Everson Griffen, hopefully Aldon Smith and Randy Gregory, hopefully Neville Gallimore and Antoine Woods are good contributors. But your starters there, you got one of the better units in the league. Where you're going to count on Poe and McCoy to still have enough left in the tank to be quality starters. But there is no doubt that Everson Griffen still is. There is no doubt that he's still a quality pass rusher, a quality run defender, no doubt whatsoever. So now let's get into the curious part about it. The curious part is that he got a 1-year, $6 million deal, and $3 million of that is roster bonuses, $3 million of that is salary. So he could lose a lot of that if he's not on the roster at any point through the season. So to understand how did you get to this point, I would recommend you go back and read the Tom Pelissero article that was written on April 10th on NFL.com. And it is titled, so you can just Google this and find it, Free Agent Everson Griffen says 2018 incident changed his life. And so this was September of 2018. He had to enter treatment. He was in a sober house. He had to have a mental health evaluation because in 2018, he had multiple incidents in September there from September 20th to 22nd that involved an arrest, erratic behavior, threatening to shoot people because he couldn't get in his hotel room. He had a breakdown of sorts, and the Vikings had told him without a mental health evaluation, you can't come back in the building. So now partner that with COVID, and you can't have tryouts, and you can't really get with people and interview them. And I think that all adds up to, look, a lot of teams are going to be very skeptical of, like the Pelissero article. It was talking to Everson Griffen about 2018, and he talked about how nobody knew he was living in a sober house. He did that for 3 months. He was going to meetings. He said, I did the whole 9. That was just a part of my recovery, just to reset. I wanted to reset. And I'm happy that 2018 happened because I wouldn't be sitting here today being able to tell my story and showing teams that I'm strong, I'm healthy. There's really nothing that you have to worry about because I'm doing all the right things. There's nothing I'm doing behind the scenes that they should be worried about. I'm doing everything possible to make sure that 2018 doesn't happen again, and it will not happen. So, assuming all of his words in this article are 100% truth, he immediately becomes my dude. Anybody who goes to therapy and has a therapist or a psychologist, you immediately become my dude because we got a shared experience, baby. So hopefully that is behind him and he has figured out, because they didn't diagnose him with any sort of mental health deal, no bipolar, nothing like that. Basically, they diagnosed him with unresolved trauma, which is something that, hey, go see a therapist, work through this, and figure out how to move forward in life in a better way. And so if he has done that part, then you get a giant steal. The question on Everson Griffen is not going to be on Sundays at all. It's going to be, as Bobby Belt said in reply to one of my tweets last night, it's about Monday through Saturday. You know, where is he? So you've got Aldon Smith kind of in that situation. You've got Randy Gregory in limbo, and you've got Everson Griffen, who we'll see as the season goes on. But as a player, it's a steal of a signing. He's going to be really good for the Cowboys. I think between him and Tank, I would bet on 18 to 22 sacks between those two guys while playing really stout run defense. This is it's an all-in move, but without having to go all in, right? Like there's teams who have gone all in the NFL, the Eagles, the Vikings, the teams who they have no cap space because they went and they signed all these free agents and there's all this money on the backside of deals, and they put themselves in spots where they knew we got to go for it because unless we're the best drafting team in the league, we're about to hit cap hell in the next couple of years, right? And the Vikings did. I saw a Warren Sharp tweet where he said that the Cowboys got super lucky because Everson Griffen opted out, COVID hit, and then he couldn't get a deal and he fell in the Cowboys' lap. That's not true from one standpoint. He was going to be released anyway. He had restructured the year before to take a pay cut. They added in the opt-outs for him, and then he had a good season, and they couldn't carry his $14 million cap hit going into 2020. They were going to release him anyway, so he opted out. And this is the deal that you end up getting. It's curious that the Vikings probably couldn't beat that. I have to look at their cap, but I know they were screwed. But yeah, this is a Cowboys celebration day. It's a Cowboys celebration day. That's why we're going bucket hat. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you want to talk about tomorrow and what your expectations are for Everson Griffen and for this defense now. I think he helps a lot. Stat from Evan Kaplan. He lined up as a right defensive end, 91% of snaps the last 2 years. Tank Lawrence lined up as a left D end for 91% of snaps the last 2 seasons. So it's a perfect fit. Tank and Everson Griffen is a perfect fit. The only question now is, okay, Aldon Smith, are you playing a standard defensive end spot in a regular rotation, or are we talking about the designated pass rusher role where, you could line up kind of anywhere and do that? The only question is, where does everybody else fit in? Because Everson Griffen fits in as your starting right defensive end. Tank is your left defensive end. And then you'll figure out, okay, can we get Randy back? And if we do, think about if they do. Then your pass rusher group or your defensive end group is Tank, Griffen, Aldon Smith, Gregory, Tyrone Crawford, and the entire roster has to fight for the sixth edge spot. And Bradley and I versus Dorrance Armstrong is probably the top of that. But that's the biggest thing is they went from, I worried about their defensive line and their edge depth to, now this is short term, but in the short term, that's chasing a Super Bowl, man. That's chasing a Super Bowl. You're going to bank on vets on the way down on the interior of your defensive line. You're going to bank on vets on short-term deals with a lot of upside if everything goes right for your pass rush, and you'll see what happens. The offense is going to be great. This could make your defensive line one of the better ones in the league, and now the only question is going to be, could this team's ability in coverage be the Achilles heel, or can they get by well enough that this is a real-life Super Bowl contender, which I believe it is because the roster is. So 1 year, $6 million for Everson Griffen, $3 million base salary, $3 million in roster bonuses. That is where he is going to fall here. And let's see, do I have any of my mailbags that I didn't get to the other day? Congratulations to Tavon Austin, by the way, going to San Francisco. Tavon Austin will be a 49er. that's a perfect fit for him because on that team, I saw one of my guys at Pro Football Focus post, like, being a jet sweep guy and that's your job can kind of work. So hopefully for Tavon Austin, that works out really well for him. Oh, and let's hit the offensive line really quickly. Mike McCarthy yesterday said that at center right now is Joe Looney, and at left guard, he said Connor Williams is not ready to be a full go, so he's working working off of an injury, and Connor McGovern is the other guy working at left guard, and no mention of Tyler Biotish. So I think realistically your depth chart that you're looking at right now is Joe Looney at center while you see if one of these young guys can come take the job. But in COVID world with a shortened camp, you'll start off with the vet being your center. And so Joe Looney's getting the first team reps. And the Connors are going to battle at the left guard spot currently. So that's that. Leave in the comments what you want to talk about tomorrow. Thank you to those of you who are subscribed, youtube.com/Jeff Cavanaugh, and those of you that check 1053thefan.com each day for breaking news and all that stuff. I'll see you guys on the radio in a little bit. I'm trying to think of a random question, but I really got nothing at the moment. I got nothing. Just leave in the comments what you want to talk about tomorrow. What's your favorite thing about this Cowboys offseason so far, and were you still here at 11:25? Shout out to the 18%ers who have the notification turned on for all the videos. I love you, and I'll see you on the radio. Love you, bye.